Just a regular stump grinder. Let's get her done. And then it tips back. It's freaking awesome. Now we gotta figure out how to cross the road at 1 mile an hour. I know how a turtle feels.
Yeah, I'm thinking I gotta grind it all the way out to here. I know.
We saw how high the stump was cut before you started going. That seemed to work out great because you don't have to worry about damaging your chain on the chainsaw. And this had no problem with that. So just a few inches above ground and this will do it fine.
I shoot for anything that keeps my chainsaw chain out of the dirt. So sometimes your angle is wrong as you're cutting through, and you might have to either restart, or you end up like this high on one side and that far on the other side. Just go with it. As long, I mean, it's like a 20, is it like a 20-inch wheel on there? So you can easily do half of that, cutting on the front, like you know, like that. But it cuts on the bottom too. So you're probably cutting on like 200 to 270 degrees of that wheel. You obviously can't cut on the back side, but it doesn't have any problems. You just take your time and try and only do like 1/4 to 1/2 inch passes as you go through.
Do you think that's something a homeowner that's never used one of these can do?
Yeah, it's just a matter of figuring out the joysticks, and then you can go slow. And then they just give you the rundown on how to start it. This has a live man switch on it. I don't know if you noticed that when we were doing it, but that wheel will not engage unless there is a hand on top of this. It senses your body heat, and then the one light will light up. And then once that light's lit up, you can hold the switch to the side for 2 seconds, and then the wheel will go. And if you let off, it'll cut the power to the wheel, but it doesn't slow down for several seconds anyway. Yeah, it's a $80,000 machine, and we rented it today for $500. So time to go get paid.
storm, so you nicked it a little bit.
Yeah, the flange, door hinge.
A long time before I got here.
Oh yeah, that's seized up nice. There we go. Yeah.
You can take that home and do if you want.
No, that's worth a penny in scrap.
Oh. I'll just throw it in the recycling.
There you go. Oh, all right, back to work.
Nothing else. Look at that. Rock. That's nothing. We're good. Rock. Up.
Hey Joe, how long do you think that took?
30 minutes,
What's the longest you think it's taken you to do a stump job?
2.5 hours.
Oh wow.
And that was a gigantic elm tree. It had a big swollen mound that came up. You have to go through on the top the first time and take the top 6 inches off. And then you got to back it up and do twice the diameter and take the next 6 inches off just to get everything level. And you're taking multiple wheelbarrow loads of debris out of there just to get the grass to go flat again. But that's what a lot of those trees will do, is they swell that ground up around them. And you go chasing roots, but they're not inexpensive. It's always, this is one of the most expensive ways to take a trunk out. Well, that went all right. I already found 2 big chunks of metal in all the stumps that I've ground today. That one was the biggest. The other one was like a piece of like 2-inch angle iron, about that long. And I just barely skittered off the top of it. And I went, oh, that's a different sound. So then you go and start digging around in there just the same way you found that one is, oh, well, look at what we got there.
So I imagine that when you're doing it in something that's a bit more rocky, there's a lot more shrapnel and a lot more issues. Or do you just not do it when it's rocky?
If there's small rocks, like the size of golf balls, kind of like the ones that you picked out of there, they're okay, because these carbide teeth, they'll depress them into the soil and they'll rake them out. And then you'll start hearing them bounce off the inside in here. You're like, okay, I'm getting into some rocky stuff. Last thing you want to do is, you can break teeth on these by hitting hard stuff. What you don't want to do is break that flange, because those flanges are expensive. And they'll charge you for them at the rental store, but you really got to be trying to mess it up. Like, if you're gonna do that, like, hey, you know, you're not supposed to grind rocks, right? I suppose that concludes another episode of Lumber Joe Tree Services.